Hey guys, today I'm talking about shaky heads. It's a finesse presentation normally used to fish worms. You're going to want to use this on a medium action spinning rod with a fast tip with 10-pound braid, or like anywhere from 6 to 10-pound braid to or fluorocarbon, or you can fish it on a medium powered bait caster with a moderate tip on it with 15-pound fluorocarbon is what I use. It has a light wire hook on it, so it's a finesse presentation, so you're not going to want to use a medium heavy bait caster because it will bend the hook out or break the hook. I've actually seen this exact shaky head. This is a Buckeye Lures Spot Remover Pro model. I've seen this exact shaky head model and weight and everything. The hook broke off right where this paint, if I can get it to focus on it. Get it to focus. There we go. Right where this paint ends, right here, I actually saw the hook break off. The dude was using a heavy power rod, like his punching and flipping rod, and was throwing a shaky head on it because he thought it was, more of a power presentation because he was flipping it into cover, and he actually broke the hook off on a nice fish. So you're going to want to use lighter tackle for this, though you don't bend out the hooks on fish. You can fish it with crawls and grubs, but I prefer worms. This one right here is a Charlie's worm, like a finesse worm. Got a little paddle tail on it. It's a purple color. I like that one a lot. You want to fish a floating worm, and how you tell if it's a floating worm or not is stick it in your mouth. And if you taste salt, then it is not going to float. If you taste any sort of salt, it is not going to float. If you don't taste any salt and it just tastes like plain rubber, then it's going to float good, and it's going to be a great shaky head worm. That's why I like that one. This here is just a Zoom trick worm, and it doesn't have a lot of salt in it, so it still will float. This is a motor oil color with a chartreuse tip. And then I also like to fish the Fish Hog's hooker worm, a green pumpkin green, worm with a hook on the end, a chartreuse hook on the end. Any sort of worm works really well. You're going to screw it onto that little bait keeper right there, and then most people try to put the hook all the way through the worm and then back into it. You're not going to want to do that. You're going to line it up to where it's straight and then just tug on the worm to where the hook just goes into the middle of the worm. You're not going to want it exposed or exposed. You want to have it in the middle, and when that fish bites down, it will come through the worm perfectly fine. I hadn't had any issues with hookups with that. You're going to want to set an over the top of the head hook set from mid, how you're working the bait. You want to set it straight up to 12 o'clock. Because you're going to want to try to get the hook in the roof of the mouth of the fish. That's the best way I've found out with shaky heads and hook sets. You're going to want to fish a shaky head around hard cover and hard bottom contact. And the reason why is it stands up on end like that one. And when you're bouncing it along, say you're hopping it or you're dragging it and you're shaking it, if you're fishing on rocks, sand, pebble, anything, a hard bottom, it's going to make a lot of noise and attract a fish. Even though it is a finesse presentation, it's still making a lot of noise with that head banging the hard cover. You're not going to want to really fish this in a pond setting because of the silt on the bottom. It just stirs up the silt, and the silt will end up covering up your bait. The fish won't even see your bait. It's more made for the hard bottom. That way, they can really hear it and stuff. You're also going to try to fish this around hard cover. So tree branches, if you're flipping into a tree, this is a great bait for a finesse type flipping bait. You're going to flip it into a tree branch, and as soon as you feel that tree branch, you're going to shake it up against the tree branch. And it will drive the bass nuts until they hit it because it annoys them. Rocks, running into rocks, if you're dragging along a stump field, then you can, if you hit a stump, shake it. If you're fishing like boulders and rocks, then drag it till you hit a rock or a boulder, and then shake it on that boulder. It makes a lot of noise, and then hop it over it if you don't get a bite. Works great around those areas. So that's how you fish a shaky head. Thanks, guys.